So before we head out, this is where I got my start riding a motorcycle. This is the first time I ever rode a motorcycle, was in this parking lot. You can see those bins back there. That's where they store all the bikes, the gear. I've made several videos talking about new rider tips, things that you should think of as a new rider, as someone who's just finished their safety course and is getting ready to head out on the road. But I wanted to talk about today specifically three things. But today I wanted to talk about three things that you need to remember as a new rider and as someone who has just finished the new rider course. So let's get right to it. Now, before we head out onto the road, it's important to remember tip number one, or thing number one, which is it's okay to be afraid. You know, we live in this, like, especially with motorcycles, where it's such a high percentage of riders are men in this, like, hyper-masculine environment. And so being afraid or showing weakness, right, it's just something that doesn't happen regularly, which is a shame. That's a whole topic for another day. But it's okay to be afraid, right? Riding motorcycles, riding around without the protective shield of a car is something that can definitely be scary. So just understand, it's a natural thing. It's natural to be afraid, and it's natural to be very leery of getting out from the confines of the safety of this motorcycle safety course here, and then heading out onto the road. So it's important to just trust your confidence level, and before you head out onto the street or onto the highway, trust yourself, trust your skills, and don't get ahead of yourself, because it's really easy to get ahead of yourself, thinking to yourself, oh, you know, I need to be out on the street, I need to get out of the parking lot. Trust yourself and don't take any unnecessary chances. So item number two links right up with item number one, which is stick to the parking lots and residential streets. And with that, we're going to get onto the street. So once you're ready to leave the parking lot, once you're ready to head on out into a less controlled environment, I would recommend, and highly recommend, staying out on residential streets. Now, I've seen a lot of videos of people just learning to ride. They get their bike, they stick to the parking lot here, they stick to these residential roads where there's not a lot of traffic, and I've seen them accidentally take a wrong turn onto a busy street, a higher speed street that they don't feel like they're ready for. And that can be a scary experience, right? It can be really scary. You stop thinking about the things that you've learned, and maybe you go back into some bad habits. I know when I was in my safety course, we had somebody who was just learning how to ride, who couldn't get the feel of the throttle down. They were constantly just revving too high and jerking themselves forward, and at one point fell off the bike, held onto the throttle, and the bike just started spinning around. So yeah, you've got to stick to these roads here with few cars, with a low speed limit, and where you're going to be comfortable. So the tip I would go along with on that one is make sure you end up in a place that you know your way around, right? Don't go to a residential area that you're not familiar with. A lot of residential areas in my area go straight to an area where you can get onto a freeway. You might be riding along a street like this, and all of a sudden this turns into an on-ramp to a freeway, and that's if you're really not ready to ride fast, that can be a really, really scary situation. So stick to the parking lots and residential streets until you're ready to take it to the next level. And the last tip here that I wanted to give you about being a new rider and taking the proper steps to becoming a confident rider and getting out into more higher skilled situations is, yeah, watch your T intersections. That's another tip I could give you. But the last tip I wanted to give you is take your time. Be patient. Don't compare your skills as a rider to the skills of your friends or to the skills of people who you were riding with in your safety course. We had a huge variety of experience of riders in my course. We had myself, who had never ridden before, and many others that were like that. I think there was like 13 or 14 people in our class. We had a handful of dirt bike riders who really kind of knew their way around their motorcycle and were, you know, had to take the course, or felt like taking the course was easier than just going straight to the DMV to try and get their license. And then we had like these people who had been riding for like 30 years who had never gotten their license and who were just basically basically going through the motions so that they could get a piece of paper that said that they're licensed to ride. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. The person you're competing with is the rider that you were the day before, or the rider that you were the ride before. Your skills aren't going to translate into somebody else's skills, so be patient with yourself, take your time, and don't ever put yourself, don't go on a group ride with a bunch of skilled riders and feel like you need to keep up, because that's just gonna really put you in a difficult situation where you might get hurt, and even worse, you might kill yourself. Yeah, so here's the tip number 4 for the day is don't die. No, we don't have 4 tips today. We only had 3 tips, and those were it. I bet that there are those of you watching this video who have additional tips, but these are just 3 kind of really good guidelines to go by. Come on, people. Now, I've done several other videos with new rider tips, so make sure you check those out. I'll have a playlist here at the end of the video so you can check it out. But if you're somebody who's a seasoned rider who's watching this video, make sure you leave your tips to help out those people who are just getting into riding. So yeah, we're all in this together, and whatever we can do to help each other out, we do for the greater good. So that's all I've got for you guys today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name's Eric. I'm that one guy, and I am out.